Success looks beautiful from far away. Everyone dreams about it. Everyone says they want it. Everyone thinks they are ready for it. But if success is so wonderful, why do so many people run from it? This is the story of Lucas, a man who had everything he needed to rise to the next level, yet always found a way to pull himself back down. Not because he was weak, not because he lacked talent, but because deep inside, his mind feared success more than failure. Lucas had just received the biggest opportunity of his life, a promotion he had worked years for. A chance to finally step into the life he always imagined. But instead of excitement, he felt panic. His thoughts spiraled. What if I don't deserve it? What if they expect too much from me? What if I fail in front of everyone? He walked outside, trying to calm his mind. But the more he thought about it, the worse it got. He wasn't afraid of failing the job. He was afraid of becoming the person the job required him to be. And that fear paralyzed him. That evening, Lucas stepped into a small cafe to breathe, to escape, to think. There, he unexpectedly saw someone he hadn't talked to in years. Daniel, an old friend, a mentor from a past chapter of his life. Daniel looked at him carefully and said, "You look like someone who finally got what he wanted, and now wants to run away." Lucas gave a nervous laugh. "Is it that obvious?" Daniel nodded slowly. "Success scares you, doesn't it?" Lucas swallowed. He didn't want to admit it, but he didn't deny it either. Daniel leaned forward and said, "Let me tell you a truth most people never understand. Success demands identity change. Your mind is attached to who you are right now, your habits, your comfort zones, your routines. And success threatens that identity." Lucas frowned. "What do you mean?" Daniel continued. "To succeed, you're required to become a stronger, more disciplined, more confident version of yourself. And your brain resists that, because it wants familiarity, not transformation." Lucas looked down. He finally understood something. He wasn't afraid of the promotion. He was afraid of the expectations. He was afraid of who he needed to become. He was afraid of the spotlight. He was afraid of success changing him. And that fear controlled everything. If you've ever felt this too, if you've ever sabotaged an opportunity because it felt too big, too heavy, too unfamiliar, tap the like button, not for me, but for yourself. To admit something most people never say out loud. I've been afraid of my own potential. Daniel took a slow sip of his coffee and looked Lucas in the eyes. "Do you know what else people fear about success?" he asked quietly. Lucas shook his head. Daniel said, "Success makes you visible. Failure keeps you hidden, safe, unnoticed, unjudged. But success pulls you into the light, where people can see you, and criticize you, and expect more from you." Lucas felt his stomach twist. Because he knew it was true. In his mind, Lucas imagined people watching him, waiting for him to prove himself, ready to judge every mistake. Daniel's voice cut through the fear. "Your mind believes that being seen is dangerous. But the truth is, visibility is how you grow." Daniel continued, "Here's the third fear. Success raises expectations. When people see potential in you, they expect more. And your brain interprets that as pressure." Lucas felt a heaviness in his chest. Daniel leaned in. "But listen carefully, expectations are not chains. They're invitations to rise. Your mind sees pressure, but success sees possibility." Lucas had never thought about it this way. He always believed expectations were burdens. But what if they weren't? What if every expectation was proof that someone believed in him? For the first time, the fear loosened slightly. Daniel lowered his voice. "Lucas, most people don't fear failure. They're used to it. But success? That's unfamiliar territory. Failure is predictable. It hurts, but it's known. Success is unfamiliar, and the brain fears the unfamiliar more than the painful." Lucas felt chills. It explained everything. Every moment he backed down. Every opportunity he avoided. Every excuse he made. He wasn't afraid of losing. He was afraid of winning. Lucas looked at his reflection in the window. He saw a man full of potential, who never believed he deserved more. He whispered, "So that's why I've been stuck." Daniel nodded. "You weren't stuck. You were scared. And if you've ever felt this too, if you've ever held yourself back not because you couldn't succeed but because success felt dangerous, tap the like button, not as a reaction, but as a small promise. You will no longer run from the next level." Lucas and Daniel stepped out of the cafe. The air was cool, the street was quiet, and the city lights felt softer than usual. Daniel said, "Here's the hardest truth, Lucas. Success forces you to outgrow the version of yourself you've been holding onto. Lucas frowned slightly. Daniel continued, your brain is attached to your current identity. Even if this identity is insecure, or small, or scared, it feels safe. Lucas stopped walking. His chest tightened, because he realized something. He wasn't afraid of success. He was afraid of becoming someone who finally believed in himself. And that kind of transformation felt terrifying. Daniel spoke softly. When you stay small, when you stay in the shadows, you always have an excuse. I could have done more. I wasn't ready. I didn't get the chance. But success? Success takes away the excuses. It forces you to take responsibility for your greatness. Lucas felt a sting in his chest. It was true. Staying small kept him safe. Success would force him to rise. Lucas looked up at the sky, feeling fear and clarity at the same time. He whispered, so I wasn't afraid of failing. I was afraid of having no excuse once I finally succeeded. Daniel nodded slowly. That's the fear nobody talks about. They stopped on a small bridge. The lights reflected on the water, shimmering softly. Daniel said, for most people, the deepest fear is not that they can't succeed, but that they don't deserve to. Lucas felt his breath catch. Because that was it. That was the feeling. The one he couldn't name. Worthiness. He never believed he was worthy of a higher level, worthy of being seen, worthy of being powerful. He held the railing tightly. His voice shook as he whispered, I don't know if I'm enough. Daniel placed a hand on his shoulder. That's the belief blocking your success. Not your abilities. Not your skills. Not your opportunities. Just that one sentence. You fear success because deep inside you don't believe you deserve it. Lucas closed his eyes, and it hit him harder than anything else. And if you've ever felt that too, if you've ever doubted your worth more than your ability, tap the like button, not for me, but to admit to yourself, I deserve to see what I'm capable of. Lucas stayed silent for a long moment. The city around him felt distant, soft, gentle, as if the world was giving him space to think. He finally whispered, I've been fighting the wrong enemy. I wasn't fighting the workload, or the expectations, or the pressure. I was fighting my own belief that I wasn't enough. Daniel smiled softly. That's the battle everyone loses until they finally decide to face it. Daniel said, there's one last truth, Lucas, the one nobody teaches you. Success doesn't begin when you become stronger. It begins when you give yourself permission to rise. Lucas looked at him with wide eyes. Permission, a simple word, but one that carried so much weight. He spent years waiting for validation, approval, proof. But all along, the only permission he needed was his own. Lucas closed his eyes and breathed deeply. Something shifted inside him, quietly, but unmistakably. For the first time in years, he didn't feel afraid of rising. He didn't feel unworthy. He didn't feel small. He felt ready. He stepped forward, not running from success, but walking toward it. His pace was slow, steady, intentional. Every step said, I'm done hiding. I'm done shrinking. I'm done doubting my place in the world. This wasn't the walk of someone afraid. This was the walk of someone who finally knew his worth. Lucas stopped at the end of the street and looked around. The world looked the same. But he didn't. He finally understood something life had been trying to teach him for years. Success isn't a reward. It's an identity. And he was ready to step into it. Success is not for the strongest. Not for the smartest. Not for the lucky. Success belongs to the ones who stop running from themselves. The ones who stop sabotaging their potential. The ones who say, I deserve more than the life I settled for. Because the truth is simple. You don't fear failure. You fear the power you know you have inside you. Lucas walked forward, not as the man he used to be, but as the man he finally allowed himself to become. His life wasn't magically fixed. But his mindset was. And that's where all success truly begins. If this story spoke to you, hit like, follow for more, and comment below. I'm ready to rise. Because now you know, you were never afraid of success. You were afraid of meeting the strongest version of yourself.